Okay. Well, welcome everyone. We're really glad to see you here this evening as we share another great recipe, or with Val will share another great recipe with us. Chef Val is a great vegan chef, and I'm always happy to get more vegan recipes, and I'm sure you are too. So I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself and give you a little bit of her background. So welcome, Chef Val.
Right. Well, yeah, thank you for having me. Greatly appreciate it. So I am Chef Val, and I have been teaching healthy whole foods cooking classes since 1997. All my recipes are vegan. I use all organic ingredients. I don't necessarily, when I'm teaching, say organic repeatedly over and over again, because that would be redundant. But when I go to the store, I always get the organic ingredients, unless for some reason, I'm making a specific recipe and I need an ingredient and I can't find it. Sometimes I let it slip, but just so you know, my website is macroval.com. I am the author of 5 cookbooks. All those cookbooks can be found on my website. I teach cooking classes on a regular basis. Every Wednesday, I have a virtual cooking class, and you can go to the website and you can see the schedule of all my upcoming classes. So today I'm going to teach you a recipe featuring green lentils and lots of vegetables that are the signature vegetables for springtime, because I know it's warm today and it's supposed to be even warmer tomorrow. So it kind of feels like summer, but technically we're still in spring season. So we're going to cook with vegetables for the spring season. So I always like my classes to be interactive. So you have the chat option where you can type questions in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask questions. In fact, as the cooking class goes on, sometimes there's downtime where things are cooking. And then I usually open up the floor and say, does anybody have any questions? And you can unmute yourself and ask the questions, because I want to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered so that you can make this recipe at home, right? All right, so this recipe features green lentils, which if you read your recipe when you get it, because you're going to get it emailed to you, the lentils have to cook for 50 minutes. So I've already started the lentils because this is a 1-hour class. We wouldn't have time, and I've got the timer set. As I said that, I would say the timer is about ready to go off because they should be done. So like I said, I started the lentils before class, just so you know. And so everybody who's attending the class, I always like to ask at the beginning of the class, why did you decide to attend the class? Are you looking for healthy recipes? Are you looking for vegan recipes? Or maybe you just absolutely love green lentils. So the topic and the recipe got your attention. So you thought, hey, I think I'll go to that class. If you want to, you can just put in the chat, what drew you to the class? Why did you decide to attend? All right, so as I said, I had to start the lentils before the class because we wouldn't have enough time. So let me walk you through what I did. So first of all, these are green lentils, all 3 vegan and healthy. Okay, thanks for this response. So these are what the green lentils look like. When you go to the store, this is what they look like. I get asked a lot, what's the difference between green lentils and red lentils? So the green lentils will retain their shape once they're cooked. Red lentils, when they're cooked, they lose their shape and they become smooth. And so red lentils work really good to make a soup. Green lentils, you'll still see you'll see the shape. So your recipe calls for 1 cup of green lentils, 2 cups of water, and a 2-inch piece of kombu. So this is the sea vegetable kombu. If you go to the store to buy it, it's going to be in a bag. You're probably going to find Eden sea vegetables in the store. That's probably what you're going to find. So sea vegetables are, as the name implies, an actual plant that grows in the ocean. Some people call them seaweeds, but I like to call them sea vegetables. Sea vegetables are the most nutrient-dense food on the planet. So just a little bit goes a long way. That's why we only need a little piece to go in there. Now, why are we putting sea vegetable? Why are we putting kombu with beans? Well, beans are a protein food, and lentils are smaller than like kidney beans, but still some people have a little situation trying to digest the beans, right? Because of the protein. So by putting the kombu in there, kombu is the signature sea vegetable that helps strengthen your intestines, helps aid in digestion. So it helps break down that protein, thus helping to eliminate gas. That's what kombu is for. But kombu is also very nutrient dense, high in calcium, high in iron, high in phosphorus. Let me look at my cheat sheet here and make sure I don't forget anything. I think I said vitamin C, right? Vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin K, all that's in kombu, sea vegetable. And sea vegetables have the ability to cleanse toxins out of your system. That's what they do. And if you want luscious, beautiful hair, kombu has keratin, K-E-R-T-I-N. That is the main hair protein. So if you want really beautiful hair, healthy hair, you want kombu. So what you do is you put in a pot 1 cup of green lentils, 2 cups of water, and just put this piece of kombu right into the pot. That's all you have to do. It's hard right now because it's dried. It'll get soft and it'll open up and dissipate. And I'll show you what that looks like in the pot in just a second. But sea vegetables, because they're dried, are non-perishable and they last forever. Got that? Forever. So you buy yourself a bag of kombu and you'll use it up, but you only use little pieces here and there, but it never goes bad. You don't need to refrigerate it. You just put it in a Ziploc bag and you keep it like in your cupboard. You keep kombu on hand all the time. Lentils are your protein food. Lentils are one of the smallest beans in the legume family. So they are easier to digest than, like I said, kidney beans, which is a good thing. Now, protein is very important in our diet. We need protein in order to have strong muscles, right? And also protein is really good for your heart. Protein is good for your brain. You must have protein in your diet. Lentils also are high in calcium, contain vitamin C. It's interesting that I made this observation like a little over a week ago or whatever. All the foods that I teach in the healthy whole foods lifestyle, vegetables and grains and beans and nuts and seeds, they all contain vitamin C practically. You'd have to look and try and find something that doesn't contain vitamin C, but they all contain vitamin C, which is very good. All right, so in the pot, you're also going to put a half an onion that you diced. And I think it's 3. Yep, you're going to put 3 garlic cloves that you chop and you mince. So I like cooking the onions and the garlic with the lentils because when you cook the onion until it gets very soft, it gets just naturally sweet to the taste. So that's wonderful. Now, garlic and onions both have strong anti-inflammatory properties. And we want anti-inflammatory foods because we don't want inflammation in our system. Inflammation in our system could cause joint pains or muscle pains, things like that. We don't want inflammation. So we cook them all together in the pot for 50 minutes, or you might need to go a little longer depending on the heat on your stove, but you want all the water to have been absorbed by the lentils. And so then you know that it's done. Let's look at what it looks like when it's done. All right, this is what it looks like. So we've got the onions and the garlic have cooked in there, the lentils have cooked, and now we have this kombu in there. Let me show you what it looks like. It falls apart basically and becomes very soft. So that's what it looks like in there. It's very soft. Now you can because it's soft and everything, you can just mix the lentils up and this will just fall apart in the lentils. So you don't have to worry about it. It actually broke up. Now, some of the bigger pieces like this, you can take out of the dish if you want. It depends on who you're serving. Like if you're serving picky eaters that might be eating this and they might come across this and go, what is this? I'm not going to eat that. Just take it out of the pot, right? And then, you know what? This actually tastes very good. You can just eat this yourself. It tastes yummy. You can go ahead and eat it yourself. Or if you're just not a fan, you could just get rid of it because all the health benefits are in there with the beans because we cooked it with the beans. But I usually just take it out and just eat it myself because I really like it. Now, has anybody in the class cooked with kombu before? Have you used kombu? All right. You can just answer that question when you feel like it if you've used kombu before. Now, to make this dish, we need to, Dee says no. Okay, so this is something new that's being introduced to you. That's awesome. To serve this dish, we're going to put some greens in it that we don't necessarily want to cook. So we're going to want to cool the lentils down. So I'm going to put them in a big bowl and then put them in the refrigerator. Now, if you were, cooking at home and you didn't have to have this done in an hour or whatever, you could cook the lentils and then just let them sit out and cool down. But I'm going to put them in the refrigerator so they cool down even quicker. Jan says, have used kombu in soup. Okay, very good. I'm going to put this in the fridge. Okay, so the lentils and the kombu is done. Now let's work on the vegetables. Right, so the first one we're going to do is cauliflower. This is our beautiful cauliflower. Now, in Oriental medicine, they teach us that when a vegetable looks like a particular organ in the body, it feeds and nurtures that organ. What organ in your body does cauliflower look like? Any guesses? Brain. Lyon Township Library said brain. Jan said brain. Very good. So cauliflower is your brain food. Now this cauliflower is in the cabbage family, right? Cabbage, cauliflower, kale, broccoli, it's all in the same family. They've done a lot of scientific research to show that all the cruciferous vegetables in this family have anti-cancer properties. Also exceptionally high in vitamin C. There's vitamin C for you again. Calcium, it's all in the cauliflower. To chop our vegetable. So we have our cutting board here. We always put water on the cutting board. This fills in the pores of the wood so the wood doesn't absorb the color and the odor of the vegetable you're chopping. So the cutting board never ends up smelling like onions or garlic. It never turns orange from chopping sweet potatoes. If you just remember to always have water on your cutting board, makes a big difference. You can have your cutting boards for a long time and they never look bad. So a lot of times it's challenging. You buy a big head of cauliflower and you're like, wow, this is really big. I don't know what to do with it. Like it's hard to chop. First of all, I always recommend you get a sharp vegetable knife. It's very important that you have a sharp knife. If you have a dull knife, it's going to make it really hard to chop through that vegetable. Hold the knife next to the blade. You see how close my hand is? This gives me the most force and pressure on the blade. If I move my hand back or I do this, I have less force on the blade it makes it more difficult to chop through the vegetable. So you hold it like this. First thing, when you have a really large vegetable, you want to cut it in half. And then you just set the other half aside. You always want to, if it's really large, get it smaller so that you can work with it. So we cut it in half like that. I do believe we need 2 cups. Yep. 2 cups of cauliflower. Also, when you're chopping vegetables, put it flat side down. Do you see how it's wobbly like this? Put flat side down, easier to work with. And then we just chop it in half again. There we go. Now inside of the cauliflower is a core that's very hard, fibrous. We usually don't use the core. You could use it in a soup if you want to, but so I cut at an angle like so, and you just cut the core of the cauliflower out like that. Like I said, you could use it in a soup if you wanted to. I usually discard it because I have a compost pile outside. So I usually just compost it. All right. So we want 2 cups. I'm just going to break it up like so. Now, after it steams, the cauliflower will break apart even more because it'll get soft, right? So we just put it in there like so. It's no, it's a little more than 2 cups. Let's go 2 cups. Yeah. 2 cups of cauliflower. Now I'm going to put this in the steamer pot and steam it until it gets fork tender. And then what you have left of the cauliflower is pretty hardy. You just put it back in the bag that you got it from. Some people have those nice green bags that the produce lasts longer in the refrigerator for you, but cauliflower usually lasts. If you get a nice fresh one and it doesn't really have that much black on it, you're lucky you have cauliflower for a couple weeks in the fridge. It usually is it's a pretty hardy vegetable to stay in there. All right, let me just get my cutting board clean here. Next vegetable. One of my all-time favorite vegetables, asparagus. I love asparagus. So asparagus is one of the first vegetables that comes up from, starts growing in the springtime. So it's a signature spring vegetable, which means it feeds and nurtures your liver, your gallbladder, and your nervous system. Also contains vitamin C. Another vegetable, vitamin C, there we go. Also contains vitamin E, which is a natural antioxidant. Vitamin K, which is important for blood clotting. Folate also has anti-carcinogen properties, helps fight off diseases. Now this can help reduce phlegm and mucus that might form in your nose. So in the springtime, the body goes through a natural cleansing process. Because in the wintertime, we ate heavier, more dense food, usually higher fat foods, because we're trying to impart warmth into our body. So when spring comes along, the body cleanses itself, gets rid of that extra heaviness, the dense food and everything. So asparagus can assist you with that. So if you start getting mucus in your nose, sometimes in the springtime, people get allergies too. Allergies is from mucus. So asparagus could help you kind of get that mucus out of your system. All right, so the asparagus, we need a half of a cup of asparagus. Now, asparagus is interesting in that this part of it right here is the most tender and the most delicious. And the bottom part here tends to get kind of fibrous. So I usually take about 1.5 inches off the bottom because it's fibrous. So I want to get rid of that. Here's my knife. Asparagus is pretty easy to chop too. You just line them up on the cutting board like so. And we want them in like 1/2-inch pieces, like so. Now you can eat asparagus raw. I have eaten it raw before. It's kind of yummy that way. I like it steamed so it becomes nice and soft. Does anybody in the class have asparagus. It's pretty abundant in the stores right now because, like I said, it's a spring vegetable. I've been buying a lot of it lately and putting it in salads like this green lentil salad. And of course, once we get grilling going, grilled asparagus is to die for. Love it. Love fresh asparagus, Jan says. Awesome. Now, growing up as a kid, it was interesting. I never had asparagus. And then when I moved out of my parents' house and I went grocery shopping for myself, I bought this vegetable that I had never seen before. And back then I didn't know much about health and everything. So I did buy canned asparagus, right? But I tasted it and I absolutely loved it. So I came home and I said to my mom, hey, I ate this weird new vegetable. It's called asparagus. I love it. And my mom said, yeah, I don't like asparagus. So mom never served it to us when we were kids because she didn't like it. However, I found out that my dad absolutely loves asparagus. And the same thing happened to my sister because we had never had asparagus growing up as kids. My sister loves it too. So now we always make sure we have asparagus for myself, my sister, and my dad. So there's half a cup of asparagus. I'm going to wait till the cauliflower is soft and I'm pull it out of the steamer pot, and then I'll put the asparagus in the steamer pot. All right, so I went ahead and did these ahead of class because it's just easier. But some of the other vegetables that are going in there is 2 radishes that I grated. So red radish, this is actually pungent. So you know when you eat a radish and it has like kind of a bite to it, so it kind of like bites your tongue, that flavor is pungent. But radishes are a digestive aid, help aid in digestion. Guess what? They have vitamin C in them. Vitamin C. Oh, Jan, hate canned asparagus as a kid, still wouldn't like it canned. No, I know. And I wouldn't eat it canned now either, but that was just the first time I had ever had it. Me too. I don't know. I liked it until I had it fresh when I was older. Yeah. So the asparagus, definitely better fresh. Yeah. So here's another vegetable with vitamin C in it, radishes. Digestive aid, antibacterial properties, and antifungal properties. Now, I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of red radishes because they're pungent. I like daikon radish better, and you could use daikon radish in this recipe. But here's my trick for summer, because we're moving into summer. Radishes are excellent. They're a cooling food. Radishes also help to with your blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure, radishes will bring it down. But if you want to put it in your food and you're not a fan of it like me, if you grate it, see how it's in really, really small pieces when you grate it, and then you put it in the dish, you'll eat it and you'll get all the health benefits, but you won't get that overwhelming, hot, pungent flavor that I'm just not a fan of. But I love radishes when I grate them and put them in a dish like this, and then I get all the health benefits. And then I also have, oh, I got extra carrot, but so that was 2 red radishes. This is half a cup of carrot grated. So I went ahead and grated the carrot also. This is another one of my favorite tricks for, again, we're in springtime. It's getting warmer outside. Grated carrot put into any salad, whether it's a leaf lettuce salad, a green lentil salad, or a quinoa salad. You just sprinkle the grated carrot on there. It gives a wonderful sweetness. You've got that wonderful sweetness of carrot. I think pretty much everybody on the planet loves carrots. You'd have to go far and wide to try and find somebody who didn't like carrots, right? Because of their natural sweetness. And guess what's in carrot? Vitamin C. There's also vitamin A in carrots. Carrots are really good for your eyes, right? So we have radishes and carrots. And we also have some greens. We're going to put some greens into this dish. I got to get a fork. Let me check the cauliflower. All right, so the cauliflower is done. I went ahead and took it out of the steamer pot because when you put a fork in it like this, the fork goes in. That means it's fork tender. So the cauliflower is done. I just put the asparagus in the steamer pot and we'll let the asparagus steam for a couple minutes. Okay, so the recipe calls for 2 cups of chopped greens. Now you can use kale, you could use collards, you could use your favorite greens, whatever type of greens you want. I'm going to use today some turnip greens. So these are interesting. You know, the turnip is the vegetable round and it's white and it's purple. That is a turnip. This is the green that grows from the root vegetable, turnip greens. Turnip greens are light, they're thin, so they're not too thick, like collard greens are thick. These are light. Now, kale, collards, and turnip, and also I mentioned cauliflower earlier, but they're all part of the cabbage family. So if this leaf kind of looks like a collard green leaf, that's why. They're all in the same family, okay? Now, all of these greens have some things similar and some things they're pretty similar, but the green has chlorophyll. That's what makes it green. Chlorophyll cleanses toxins out of your system. Leafy greens all have lots of iron, lots of calcium, and guess what? Lots of vitamin C. Also contain that vitamin K I was telling you about that's really important for clotting, your blood clotting. Now, the greens also have flavonoids in them. They're hard to pronounce, but xanthan and another, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce, but they're flavonoids, lutein. Anyways, all you have to know is those are really good for your eye. They can help with macular degeneration, greens, leafy greens. So you can never get enough leafy greens. Start including them in your diet. They are naturally bitter to the taste. Naturally bitter food feeds and nurtures your brain and your heart. So we're going to use some turnip greens, and I'm also going to use some dandelion greens. Now, I've been eating dandelion greens for many years, but they seem to be the really in thing right now, dandelion greens. Now, you can go outside and you can pick dandelion greens as long as the place that you're picking them from has not been sprayed, because those chemicals that they spray on lawns, very, very toxic. Like, I've been living in my house for 15 years, never ever spray anything ever. So I have been going outside and picking dandelion greens, but I'm also finding organic dandelion greens in the store, which is fantastic. And if you buy them in the store, usually they're a lot bigger and longer. See, look how long this is, right? So outside in my yard, I usually find them about this big, okay? So you get the dandelion greens and they tend to wilt really quick. So I found this way that they'll stay in the refrigerator and you can keep them. I've had these dandelion greens in my fridge for a week, right? So first you bring them home and you wash them really good. Make sure they're washed really good. And then you put them together. I just have a twist tie here. You like a bouquet. Get a container with some water so that the stems sit in the water. But the key is you've got to cover them. So I just take the vegetable bag and I just cover the dandelion greens like that. And then I put this in the refrigerator. So like I said, I've had this in the refrigerator for a week and the dandelion greens are still good. Now, some of them will get wilted, like this guy here. We just don't use it. Just don't use that one. But look at this one. This one's still beautiful and crisp. So we can use this one. So we can use these dandelion greens. Dandelion greens have antibacterial properties, antifungal properties, antiviral properties. They're really good for your lungs. They're really good for your gallbladder, for your liver. I mean, that's why everybody is going gaga crazy about dandelion greens, right? Because they're just about great for every organ in your body, really. But the natural bitter flavor of them too, for your brain and your heart, dandelion greens. Now, who in the class, are you eating dandelion greens? Are you buying them? Thanks for the dandelion green tip to keep them fresh. I've had issues with them wilting soon. Yeah, they wilt really soon. Have used them in soup. Jan's used them in soup. That's great. All right, here's the asparagus, and it's fork tender. You just put a fork in it like so. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm actually going to put this stuff in the fridge. Yeah, I put the cauliflower and the asparagus in the fridge to eventually get it cool. All right, so you need 2 cups of these greens chopped, or approximately, is it 2 cups or is it 1 cup? Hold on. 2 cups. And again, you could use a kale or something more traditional, but these are the greens that I have here. I'm going to put a little water on my cutting board. Make sure that, yeah, the camera can see the cutting board, right? All right. So your turnip greens, we have the leafy part and we have the stem part. So let's cut the stem away from the leafy green part. I'm going to line up the leafy greens on the cutting board like so. Cut them in half and then fold them over like so. I don't think I need to cut them in half again. They're not really big. I'm just going to make them in slices like so. Now, when you cook your greens, they are going to shrink. So that's okay. Oh, that's my cat meowing in the background. So let's get 2 cups there. I want to put some dandelion greens in there too. Now, the trick with cooking with dandelion greens is they are very medicinal. They're wonderful for you, but dandelion greens are, I think, one of the most bitter of the greens. So I'm actually using more of the turnip greens than the dandelion greens, because dandelion greens have that bitter flavor, and that's fine, but we don't want the overall taste of the dish to be bitter. We want like a hint of it, but not too much. All right. When I work with them, I usually line them up like so. Oops, lost one, but that's okay. So I got them lined up, and then I'm just going to chop them. Usually what I do with the stems of the dandelion greens, what's left down here, I put these in a pot of water and I make dandelion green tea. That's usually what I do with the stems, because the leafy part is more palatable to put in a salad, right? Now the stem of the turnip greens, I'm going to chop them in slices, like long slices. So they're going to be pretty. Like slices like that. And you can include those. You can include those right in the recipe, the stem. I already have my 2 cups here, so I'm not going to use all of it, but I use some of it. So yeah, we're at 2 cups. Now I am going to put the 2 cups of greens into the steamer pot for maybe a minute or 2, just so that they become bright green and they cook just a little bit. This makes them more digestible, easier to digest. That's why I'm doing that, okay? It also takes away that intense bitter flavor. I keep talking about the bitter flavor of them, but if you steam them, they aren't as bitter tasting. So that's why I'm doing that. All right, let's clean up our cutting board here. So they're just going to be in the steamer for just a couple minutes. Okay, so The class, the recipe is green lentils, asparagus, and escarole. Well, guess what? I could not find escarole in the stores. Escarole is also called chicory. And when, I got with the South Lyon Library, South Lyon Township Library, we decided to do this recipe months ago. I didn't realize I wouldn't be able to find escarole in the store. So what did I do? I got arugula, right? So I got some arugula. We're going to substitute arugula for the escarole. They are two different vegetables, all right? So let me explain the difference. So escarole is actually, when you find it in a store, it's usually looks like this, and it's long and thin. It's kind of green at the top, white at the bottom. That's like a compact escarole. Escarole also has one that's like compact at the bottom, and then it opens up more like a lettuce at the top. Okay. Escarole is in the chicory family. It's in the same family as radicchio. Radicchio is one of my favorite lettuces. It's the red one. And it's also in the dandelion family. So escarole, chicory, radicchio, dandelion, they're like all in the same family. Really good for your liver and your gallbladder. Helps purify the blood. Contains calcium, vitamin A, and vitamin K. We're getting a lot of vitamin K in this recipe tonight. It also has vitamin C. Everything we eat has vitamin C. So that's escarole. Now, arugula is usually sold in small little pieces like this. It's actually kind of pretty. Isn't that pretty looking? So arugula has like that, like a little bit of a peppery, kind of a little mild spicy flavor. And escarole is related to kale, collards, and all the cruciferous vegetables. So it's in the cruciferous vegetable category. Isn't escarole kind of bitter as well? Yes, it is. It is. Yeah. Escarole is kind of bitter. Yeah. So arugula, again, is in the cabbage family. Let me check that as greens. I just wanted to steam those greens just for a couple minutes so that they became bright green, kind of pretty looking, like so. And that's what they look like. All right. We want 2 cups of this arugula or escarole. Let's see, did I need anything else? Antioxidants in arugula, potassium, magnesium. And because it's in the cancer, or it's in the cabbage family, all the vegetables in the cabbage family have shown to have anti-cancer properties. Arugula, being peppery, sounds like a really good substitute in this recipe. Yeah, it is a really good substitute. Now, normally, I mean, you can cook arugula. You can also cook escarole. But my thought process when I was making this was to throw them in at the end. So they're not going to be cooked. You're going to get a little bit of the raw, lighter energy of them, a little of the upward moving, lighter energy. So we want 2 cups of the arugula. And with the arugula, you just put it in the middle of your cutting board, and we're just going to chop it like so. Now you could use lettuce also. You could use a romaine lettuce. You could use a leafy lettuce. You could use like a red lettuce, any type of lettuce you could substitute for the arugula, things like that. But I think sometimes people go in the store and they don't know what these vegetables are. Like they don't know what arugula is, so they wouldn't know how to use it or what to do with it. So they're kind of afraid to buy it and use it. And so it's really actually quite easy to use. 2 cups right there, arugula. All right, let's clean up the cutting board here. I think I've got all the ingredients assembled now. It's ready to put the whole thing together. Now is a great time for questions. Anybody have any questions? I'm going to go get the lentils out of the refrigerator. Jan says, when do we eat? That's the question. When do we eat? LOL. Okay. So I forgot a step. Sorry about that. But when the lentils get done cooking and they're still hot, you need to season them with a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. I forgot to do that when they were hot, so I'm just adding it now. I usually, generally, as a general rule, you want to add your sea salt or your salty condiment like tamari or whatever. You want to add that when the dish is still hot, so the seasoning gets cooked in there. But it's okay, I forgot, so we're adding it now. That's totally fine. All right, let's add the rest of our vegetables. We have the asparagus, cauliflower. Now you can break the cauliflower up into smaller pieces with your hand like that if you want. Perfectly fine. So Jan said, when do we eat? You know, I used to teach the cooking classes in person where people were able to sample the food. In fact, coming up on June 22nd, I am teaching a class here in my house. I'm in Westland, Michigan. It's not that far from South Lyon. Westland's not that far. And it's an outdoor grilling class. We'll be outside on my back patio. And all the food that we make, the students will be able to eat and get a sample of. It's a lot of fun to do grilling outside. All right, and then we have the greens that were lightly steamed, going in there like so. I am working on the recipes for the grilling class right now, but I know I'm going to teach a vegan carrot hot dog. We'll put the carrots in there, put the radishes in there like so. Last but not least, 2 cups of arugula. Jan says, agreed, have attended Val's outdoor grilling classes in the past. Yes, Jan has been to my grilling classes before. And if you want some grilling recipes, year-round healthy holiday dishes, one of my cookbooks, I cover all the holidays. So for Father's Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day, I have grilling dishes in the cookbook too. Boy, this is such a colorful salad. Oh my God, it's so absolutely beautiful. Carrot hot dog is great. Yeah, creating my own version of it. So we have the beautiful orange carrot. We got the red radishes. We've got the white cauliflower. And then we have all those beautiful greens in there. Very colorful. Last thing we need to do is to do some, salad dressing. Do the dressing we're going to put on this. So we have 3 tablespoons of umeboshi vinegar. Jan says, yum. The umeboshi vinegar is a salty, pungent, sour vinegar. If you have not tried this yet, you need to go and get some because this is one of my all-time favorite seasonings, especially for spring and summer. So this is made when they naturally ferment the umeboshi plums. If you haven't heard about umeboshi plums, it's a Japanese food. They take the plums, they mix it with sea salt, they let it ferment. And then this is the salty brine that comes off of the fermenting of the umeboshi. What is the brand name of the vinegar? Absolutely love umeboshi vinegar. Thank you, Jan. Matuko. Yeah, so Matuko is top of the line, best quality umeboshi vinegar. It is imported from Japan. If you go shopping at the health food store, you're probably going to find Eden umeboshi vinegar. Eden is a very reputable company. Eden is a great company. Their vinegar is great. So if that's what you find in the health food stores, you get that. Now you're going to have to find this in a health food store. I'm sure that Kroger and Meyer does not carry umeboshi vinegar, but this, again, it's your salty vinegar. So when you're seasoning it, just remember that it's your salty vinegar. So we have 3 tablespoons of the ume vinegar. We have 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So lemon juice is sour. Sour is the flavor of spring. And so it has a light, refreshing energy, lemon juice. And it also has vitamin C. Everything we've put into our dish today has vitamin C. And then we just have 2 teaspoons of some organic olive oil going in there like so. That's our dressing. Light and refreshing. Oh my gosh, it smells like the lemon juice and the umeboshi together, the fermentedness. It smells like summer. It's just so absolutely delicious. You just pour it over like so and mix it in. And then now it's absolutely perfect with the seasonings on it. And we got the vinegars and the lemon juice. This salad, so you can eat it right now, room temperature, it's ready to go. You can put it in the refrigerator. In fact, you want to store it in the refrigerator because you're going to want to store it where it's cold. And then you serve it cold if you want. It will probably last 6 or 7 days in the refrigerator. With the leafy greens, maybe 6, maybe 7 would be pushing it. I have used Eden umeboshi vinegar. It works well. I have Eden's brand. Yep, the Eden umeboshi. Yep. So serve some up on a plate like so. All right. So when you eat this, you've got a lot of wonderful flavors going on. You have the sour lemon juice mixed with the beautiful salty umeboshi vinegar. You have the beautiful bitter greens in there running all through there. But again, the salty sourness kind of, you won't taste the bitterness. It's like underneath. You have the cute little peppery flavor of the arugula going in there. Now the asparagus and the cauliflower are nice and soft. I like them soft, but you're going to have crunch with the arugula in there. You're also going to have a little bit of crunch with the carrots and the radishes. And then the green lentils are nice and soft. So this is a wonderful dish for dinner. Take on a picnic. If you're going on a picnic, save some for me, Val, Jan says. Put it in a container, and put it in your cooler. Take it on your picnic. And then you have your meal to go. It works really well like that. That is the dish. Are there any questions? I'm always used to questions. I can answer any questions at all.
I think it's kind of a small group, but I think I'm ready to eat too. So I have to go home. But yeah, it was really fun at Val. I really appreciate that you were able to be here, even though it was a small crowd. I'm sure that that those of us who were here really got a lot out of it. I enjoyed learning about a new brand of I think that's the same brand that this Kombu is also that same company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you buy those is that Whole Foods or Zerbos or someplace like that?
No, because I'm a business and a cooking school, I order from a company, and it's a company down in North Carolina. You can find their website though. It's Natural Import Company, and they sell Matuko brand. And again, being that I'm a chef, I'm picky and I want my food to be the most delicious. So I do buy top of the line, best ingredients. And I haven't found anything that's more flavorful than Matuko. It's really good.
Well, that's a great hint. But yeah, your salad looks great. I am definitely gonna make that this summer.
Good.
We have asparagus growing in our garden right now, so maybe it
Oh
would
my
be.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. It almost gets past you. I go out there and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's up. So eat asparagus every meal.
That's great. Go out there and pick asparagus and have it with
Yeah.
every meal.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful.
It doesn't last long though, but it's fun while it lasts.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I would like to thank you for showing us this recipe. I want to thank Val and Dee for coming by and enjoying it too. And I think that concludes our cooking, unless we got some thank yous in the comments.
Thank you. Yep. So everybody, if they get a chance, go on my website, macroval.com. Yeah, you can see all my upcoming classes. Next Wednesday, I'm teaching a Mexican dish.
Ooh.
It's Mexican burritos in zucchini boat. So there's no forward tortillas. It's in zucchini. And I have a special event coming up in June, Saturday, June 18th. It's a summer webinar. Myself and another chef, Chef Michelle. We're teaching foods for the summertime according to the 5 transformations of energy, which I briefly touched on today, with the signature flavors and everything. And so that's our summer webinar. That's up on the website right now too. And recipe of the month. You want a recipe for a quinoa, black bean salad with broccoli? That's my recipe of the month. It's up on the website right now. And it also featured basil, my favorite spice. So go to the website, you'll get that recipe right now.
Yeah, I've looked at your website before. I really enjoy it. Maybe we're super busy at this time of year, but I'm really interested in your backyard barbecue. Looks really great. Maybe we can all carpool from South Lyon and come down there.
That would be fun.
It
Yeah.
would be. It would be. Okay, thank you, Val. I'm sure Meg will be in touch with you at some point. To thank you. She's got your email and everything. She's sorry she couldn't be here tonight, but something came up in her life and she, so I was happy to step in because I'd already signed up for the program anyway. So I said, I'll do it. So
yeah, if you make the recipe, if you make, can we expect the recipe soon? Yeah, she's going to email as soon as the class is over.
Yeah, I can. Definitely.
Great class. Thank you, Dee. Hey, if you guys make the recipe, email me. You can contact me through my website. I love if people take pictures and say, hey, I made your recipe and here's how it came out. That's always fun that I get to see, if you make the recipe. So yeah, let me know when you make the recipe. That's fun. Okay.
I'll shoot this recipe off to you guys. And we do have it recorded. Do you want us to send them a copy of the recording, or is that, just it's up to you?
I'm not sure what Meg's intention was with the recording. So
yeah, I'll let her deal with that. So
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Val. Have a good rest of your evening, and to Jan and Dee too. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Right. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.